This Pennzoil 400 DFS and bonus IndyCar Picks 2026 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kalshi. Make real money predicting sports. Kalshi is available in all 50 states, and you get $20 free with promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, promo code SGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Welcome to Thursday, which, if you're keeping score, means it is time to dive in to the DFS portion of this NASCAR weekend. And Cody, as we have been wont to do for the last couple of weeks, we're going to toss in a couple of bonus IndyCar picks for you as they take to the streets of Arlington for the first time in their life. So yet another exciting weekend of racing, Cody, and we are happy to bring you all angles from this show.
We absolutely are. I'm pumped. It's going to be a lot of fun. Excited for Vegas this weekend. Should be a great cup race. Looks like we're going to have some record highs potentially. Weather-wise, it's going to be hot. The tires are going to be wearing. The track is going to be slick. That's going to bring for great racing. Then IndyCar, we head over to the streets of Arlington. And that's going to be exciting. They've never run that course before. It's a brand new course racing around the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. So that's going to be pretty exciting. And watching some like what was it, like the iRacing type of things where they put out video of sim. That's what I was looking for. They put out videos of guys like simming the track, right? And nobody's ever been on the track physically because it's not existed previously. So that's going to be pretty exciting to talk about how they're going to take on that new challenge and what might await there.
Yeah, and then again, this is a lot like when we talk about F1 taking on a brand new persona this year, and changing the cars up and changing everything. Like these racing series love to take chances nowadays, and they are certainly taking a chance on this one. Obviously, another new track making its appearance later in the year as well for IndyCar. But Las Vegas, tried and true for these Cup guys. They know how to get around this track. And like Cody said, though, so I was listening to the Angle of Pursuit podcast like I normally do with Kyle and Brian. They're really making a lot of concerted effort to let everybody know about this slick and fast and just slippery track, because obviously they are, or at least Brian is a very known about Las Vegas. I know about Las Vegas, and when it gets hot there, it really gets hot. And it's something I thought about, but I didn't really think too much about. And I know we didn't kind of bake it into our handicap that much, but the more I think about it, this is probably gonna be a very, very entertaining race.
Yeah, those guys have a great breakdown every week. A lot of poll betting talk from them this week, which I thought was very informative. So go check out their stuff. They are a great show and do a great job over there. But it's that I think probably their show talking about it is what really got me excited about it, because it's going to be hot and slick. It's going to make for really great racing. We've already seen, this car on the mile and a halfs has done an amazing job over the past couple of years since in this next gen era. Then you get to these tracks like a Kansas, like a Vegas that are beginning to get worn. and they have the tire wear, and they have the hot, the heat, the slick track. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It is indeed. Hey, and by the way, shout out to everybody out there that's producing content for the NASCAR world. It's just sometimes we go and get in our own little worlds and we don't look outside the door. But if you're not already listening to shows like Angle Pursuit, if you're not listening to Phil, Full Tank with Phil, if you're not listening to The Back Road, there's millions of them out there too that we could probably list off and on. But make sure you go out there and do that, because listening to us is fun, but you got to get other people's opinions every once in a while as well.
Well, as we always say, Rod, it's a buffet, right? Take what you want. And actually, the guys on Angle Pursuit had a similar take this week. Hey, we're putting things out there. We're giving you options, things we like, right? Get different opinions and get informed on things. There's definitely days where I'll listen to another show and I'll be like, God damn, Phil, what a great point, right? Like now I'm suddenly looking at Ryan Preece a little more because they talked about it on the draft last night, the Win the Race show, and then Phil was talking about it on his show. So I was like, man, maybe we need to get on him a little bit. But yeah, it's there's a lot of great info, a lot of great people out there. So check out all the wonderful people in this amazing NASCAR betting space.
Indeed, and I threw up Win the Race over your face, Cody, not because I didn't want to see it, but because I wanted people to see this. You talked about the draft, and it is presented by the folks over at Win the Race. So much good stuff every week. Tino, Phil, and Ryan are just breaking down everything for you, drafting people out, and so that's good stuff. Make sure you get over there.
And
also
on this week, so yeah, that was a good show.
Yes, they did. And yeah, while you're at it too, make sure to check out Bracket Madness. It's back. SGPN is teaming up to give away $5,000 in prizes. It's free to enter. You can go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket to enter. Plus, as always, we've got our $25,000 Survivor contest at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. How many times in my life?
Well, I can tell you who's taking down that SGPN pool if the Huskers win the national championship, Rod.
I think that's you, as a matter of fact. Let's see. How about Marcus checking in, saying first, hi.
Hey, Marcus.
Who's everyone's picked to win at Vegas? He is picking Christopher Bell. Ring that bell. Redemption after dominating Phoenix.
Should be good here this weekend.
Hopefully, well, I mean, again, as Phil had pointed out, this is a short, flat track guy or a dirt guy that's, scooting around this slick track.
Yep. Yeah, those guys going to have a little bit of an advantage this weekend. JDK checking in. Says afternoon, fellas. And then City Crip checking in over on the X. Good to see you. New name over there. You think KB finally gets it done in his hometown? No.
The heart says
Does that answer your question?
The heart says it. But here's the thing, right? That hometown narrative has not played out in a very long time for Kyle Busch. So
I don't think he's ever won a cup race at Vegas. For as much as he's won there, I'd have to go back and look. But as much as he's won there in other series and stuff, I feel like he's maybe not even graced victory lane in the Cup Series, which is for a guy of his great accomplishments throughout his career to have not done that. If that is the case,
Kyle Busch has not. He's won one race.
Okay, he did get one. Okay,
yep.
So
one in 29 starts.
Okay, that's not a very good batting average. So
no, it's not. But all right, Cody. Well, we were talking before the show started. You said there was news. I said what? You said I'd have to wait. I'm done waiting, Cody. What's the news?
I did make Rod wait. It is Jimmie Johnson related news, Rod. This is shocking news. Nobody saw this coming. NASCAR posted earlier today that Jimmie Johnson said on Thursday on SiriusXM, Legacy Motor Club will expand to a 3-car stable in 2027. I don't know if you're as shocked by that news as I am, but Legacy bought a charter like 2.5 years ago. So, yeah, we knew that they were going to be expanding. Well, originally it was supposed to be last year, but then the whole RWR thing. Yeah, so of course they're going to be a 3-car team next year. So this does actually bring up a good talking point and an interesting thought. If you don't know the story, Rick Ware Racing sold one of their charters to Legacy. But Rick Ware Racing had already leased that charter, or you can only lease a charter to a team for 1 year. So they had leased one of their charters and then flipped it to the other charter to RFK for 2 years for Ryan Preece's ride. So the 60 car for Ryan Preece, RFK doesn't own that third charter. They're leasing that charter from Rick Ware Racing, but they've leased it for, each of the charters for the last 2 years, last year and this year. But next year, that charter that RFK currently holds with the 60 car is the charter that Legacy has already purchased. So in 2027, as of this point in time, RFK is back down to one charter. The Rick Ware Racing charter has also been sold, which I haven't really seen anything else on that. Like, they sold that, but it's still Rick Ware. But then they had said, I don't know if that was just a financial deal, because like Cody was going to keep driving the car. So I don't know if it's just going to stay Rick Ware Racing or if we're changing the name. But so the musical chairs are playing here is sitting there with 3 drivers and 3 cars, but only 2 charters in 2027. So what does that mean, right? Does Rod finally get his wish that he's been going for years, that Keselowski just retires suddenly and puts Priest in the 6 car? Or do they find a charter? But where are you getting a charter from at this point in time? I don't know. Like, I can't see many teams out there that would be willing to sell. Everybody right now has been in buy mode, and everybody's building. Like, we don't, for years and years, there was always, well, the Start and Park teams, the BJ McLeod teams, the Starcom teams that were just like way behind everybody else on the grid. Rick Ware is sort of that team, but even they like are doing decent, right? They're still at the bottom, but they still do decent. Otherwise, like Hayek is kind of the other one that's kind of weird, but they just bought that charter and team 2 years ago, so they'd be willing to sell it already. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but Legacy will have a 3rd car. Shocking news, according to NASCAR today. But yeah, what happens to that 3rd Rick Ware or RFK ride is kind of the biggest question mark of it all.
I'm Jimmie Johnson. I'm on the phone right now to Corey Heim. Tell him, hey, cool your heels for your year. We've got a ride for you next year in Legacy Motor Club.
Toyota's on the phone with Jimmie Johnson saying, sorry, he's already signed for 2311, Rod. He'll be in the 35 car. So
I don't care.
Yeah, that's also another thing, right? Is who does Legacy put in the 3rd car? Do you grab or get Ryan Preece if he is a free agent type of guy? That'd be a good fit. Riley Herbst is very highly rumored because of the Monster connections. Jimmie Johnson also has connections with Herbst's family. They've helped him into this off-roading stuff throughout the years. So Monster has a lot of money. That could be a potential fit. Or, you look to the lower series. You've got the guys out there like the Jesse Loves of the world, the Lane Riggs of the world. Do you move on one of those guys? A lot of drivers are free agents this year as well, or this coming year. So a lot of stuff out there. It's going to be interesting. The grid, the paddock will look a little different next year, if you will, Rod.
The paddock, look at you. All right, let's get to the chat real quick before we start setting up the DFS portion of this Las Vegas race, because that is good news, Cody, that we are officially entering the 3rd charter era for Legacy. Luke Wright, or WS, I think that's Sergeant Luke Wright, whatever. Hi, Luke.
Hi, Luke.
Yeah, can't decipher your name because I'm old, but that's okay. He wants to know who our favorite drivers, who are our favorite racers, besides gambling, I'm sure. I like Jimmie Johnson. Like I said, I've been a gigantic Jimmie Johnson fan since I started following the sport in 2003, before he started on his tear. Current era drivers, I don't have anybody in the Cup Series.
You haven't seemed to really leech on to anybody as much as maybe I have. So
I haven't planted the flag lately in that word. But yeah, Jimmie Johnson's still my guy.
Yeah, I was a Bill Elliott fan as a kid growing up. That kind of led into being Casey Kane fan for a long time. Just the natural transition of Casey taking over Bill's car when he retired from full-time racing. And then obviously Chase Elliott coming into the series. I became a big Chase Elliott fan. Honestly, though, Carson Hocevar is my number 1 now, to be honest, Rod. Like, I'm all in on the Hurricane. The dude is just he's supplanted Chase Elliott as my favorite race car driver. It's all about the Hurricane for me. I love the kid. He's a lot of fun to bet on, too, because it's exciting. But I think the personality is great for NASCAR. I think it's exactly what they need. Did you see, Rod? Did you see the leaked photo from their shop of what appears to be the Darlington car throwback weekend? Oh, yeah, buddy. The Chili's Wrangler throwback, the Intimidator version number 2. Oh, buddy. It's you got to look on. That's why you got to watch on the YouTube. I had the picture ready to go. I've had that loaded in there all week, ready to throw it up there. Yeah, so Carson Hocevar, he's my guy.
Blink twice, Cody, if they're making you read that off of a script and that we need to come in.
Absolutely not, Rod. I love Carson Hocevar. I have a Carson Hocevar Dente shirt. JDK has a Hocevar hat coming in the mail next week. That's what I need to. That's next on my agenda is getting a Hocevar hat, because I need I need one of those cool 77. They got some pretty sweet looking blue and yellow. Oh yeah, gotta get some more Hocevar gear.
We'll be back after the break. We're going to start laying out all of our favorite DFS picks for this. I'm just kidding. But yeah, seriously, we are going to do that. I just, you know what, I can't. Cody just hypes up Hocevar so much that I have to be the counterbalance in this show.
So much fun. And that's why Rod doesn't like him, because Rod, as we know, not much of a fun person. He's the fun police. But Hocevar, he's the guy.
I 1,000% hate fun. You want to know what's fun now? Looking at the solar app that that's my fun right there. Opening it up to see how much I've generated.
A little happy birthday shout out to Rod. His birthday's on Sunday this week. You are crossing a big milestone that would put you in the category of somebody who gets excited about their solar panels.
All I want from you guys is a rocking chair. That's all I want. And maybe a giant weighted blanket so that I can go out and sit on my porch on the rocking chair and scream at birds in the sky. I don't know, whatever I scream at, but yeah. All right. Before I do that, let's get some happiness
talk.
Let's get the DFS portion of this. But first, let's tell you about our friends over at Kalshi. Kalshi, it's a real money prediction market, legal in all 50 states. Kalshi's got a ton of trading options for all of your favorite sports. Kalshi now has combos. Combine 2 or more predictions to increase your payouts. With Kalshi, you can trade on absolutely anything. Hey, listen, you know me, big Survivor fan. If you go into the Discord, you'll see that as well. We love to talk about Survivor in there every once in a while. You know who caught my eye after this last episode? It might be sneaking under the radar. How about Rick Devens? Rick Devens planting spoiler alert, by the way, planting a fake idol at Tribal. Nobody's ever done that before. If you want to trade on him to win this whole thing, he's still trading at 1 cent. Underdog. Not $20 will get you $2,000 in return. Oh, and we're going to give you that $20 if you're a new customer. You use promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, Kalshi, promo code SGPN. About our friends over at Underdog. We got you covered for pick'em in almost every single sport under the sun. Underdogs also just increased their payouts. 2-pick entries now pay 3.5x. 3-pick entries pay 6.5x. We were talking earlier about the fact that we had F1 and we still have F1 up on Underdog. I am still absolutely enamored with the Kimi Antonelli higher than 3.5 finishing position this week, coming off of a podium finish to open the year. Kimi's going to back that up with yet another podium finish. Mark my words. Go to Underdog, mark it for yourself. Plus, I got a brand new offer for you if you're a new customer. Play just $5. Get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACE, SGPN.
Underdog Fantasy, Rod. If you're not over there, again, use that promo code RACE, SGPN. We talked about having F1 stuff over there. They'll have NASCAR stuff over there as well. High limits. So if you want to get in on the high limits sprint car race, I believe that is this evening. You can get like Rico Abreu better than 4.5, Kyle Larson better than 2.5. They've got all that stuff over there as well. They're constantly turning out stuff over there, which is beautiful. And for Kalshi, who you brought up there as well, NASCAR top 20s. So if you want to get in that market, they have that. They have a very handy little button at the top. Basically, you can flip it into sports fan mode, and it makes it look just like a sports book. It'll show you what the odds would be compared to where it's trading at and stuff. So makes it super easy. Go sign up over there. They've got a ton of IndyCar stuff as well. Our buddy F1 Capper has been like working with them to get more IndyCar markets over there, which is great. They got Formula One stuff as well. And as you mentioned, like everything else, Survivor, all kinds of shit. So love it.
Absolutely love it. That top 20 market. Oh my God. Thanks, Seth, by the way, for breaking that news to us.
Yeah, that was great. Great. Yeah, great tweet over there by him. That's pretty awesome to have that top 20 market. It's something that you don't see on sports books very often. Every once in a while you'll get it, but have it over there. You can also take the no side of things on bets. So if you're against somebody top 20 or a top 10 or whatever, you don't get the no side often on the sports books. So in that predictions market, that's kind of nice too. I've been diving a little more into Kalshi here the last couple of weeks, and it's a lot of fun.
It is indeed. Okay. Speaking of fun, DFS is fun, and that is what we are here to do. For this Pennzoil 400, we are set for 267 laps around this 1.500 mile paved track for 400 6.500 miles around the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada on Sunday, March the 15th. Day that's special in my book, but yeah, special because we're getting set for another fun race.
Yes, we are, Rod. All right, so I do think that this is going to be a Kyle Larson race, so I'll start with that. Talked about him a ton on the betting episode, and I will be playing him a lot because I think he is going to be the main
but why are you
dominator.
gonna step on mine?
I think. Well, I'm not trying to. I'm just setting it up. I wasn't even going to tell people that he was your pick, Rod, but you spoiled it. Way to go. I'm
Spoiler.
just saying. So I'm going to endorse that when you do give it out because I love Kyle Larson. But I am going to go with somebody else at the top here that's a little bit different. I sometimes like to change it up from the betting picks, right? And I'm going to take Chase Briscoe at $9,200 because I think Briscoe is the type of guy that has a lot of upside and is not going to be that popular this week. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, he's going to be the first car out in qualifying. We've got the single car or the single round qualifying for the I can't keep track on a week-to-week basis of how we're qualifying, but the single car non-top 10s, I was definitely watching qualifying last week, waiting for them to go into the second round, and there wasn't one, so that was on me. But he's going to be the first car out because he's not doing very good in any of the metrics right now because been a rough couple weeks, not doing good in the points. So it's going to be hard for him to start well in this race is what I'm saying. Don't bet on him to get on the pole is what I'm trying to tell you. But that means he's going to start a little farther back in the field, which gives him great place differential opportunities. And I think he could also get up there and lead some laps, which he did in the fall. So if you go back and you look at Chase Briscoe here at Las Vegas, it's kind of a spotty history. In 2022, first year of the next-gen car, he did have a fourth-place finish here in the fall race. Went out and he had a really good 2020 year too. That first year where he was kind of on equal footing with everybody else. Shocker, right? But close our doors, he was pretty good. Then he came here last spring in the JGR car. We know how it was last spring. Things didn't go well. Trying to figure out how to drive these cars. First mile and a half. Not going to look at that. But then he came back here in the fall. Led 57 laps. Looked good. Looked great. And then also you back up through the end of last season. Not only was he fourth here in the fall, he was fourth at Kansas in the fall. He won the Darlington race down the stretch. And even back in the spring Kansas race, he finished fourth in that one. Looked good in that race as well. So he's brought the speed. We know that he's going to have speed. We talked about the hot, slick track, all of that stuff. That is also going to lend you towards dirt track guy like a Chase Briscoe. He loves those types of conditions. So Chase Briscoe, I think, is a guy. And people are going to look at him and they're going to look at tire trouble last week, bad finish, tire trouble, whatever it was, rack and steering, and I don't even remember, transaxle that's not, or wait, was it not a transaxle? Just I don't know. They explained it to us and I already forgot. Doesn't matter. But 2 weeks in a row of mechanical issues. But he had fast cars in both those races. We know he's going to bring a hot rod. Also, he's been amazing here in the O'Reilly Series. We talked about that yesterday. He's going to be running the O'Reilly Series. Get some stuff worked out. I like that. He's won the last 2 times here, dominated. So he's been good on this track, in good equipment. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to get overlooked at that $95 or $9,200 range here. And then, Rod, you can play him right alongside the guy that you're about to give out, which I fully endorse as well.
Listen, you just sometimes have to pay for the most expensive meal on the menu, right? Because you just have to have that experience. And if you miss out on it, then you absolutely miss out on it. And that's this week for Kyle Larson. I know that the betting markets pretty much have him pounded down to where it makes it difficult to want to bet on him. However, it's Kyle Larson on the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And to be honest with you, if anybody's telling you anything different other than to say, this is how you can be different, then they're leading you in the wrong direction, because Kyle Larson on this track since 2023 in the spring, second, first, 11th, 9th, and 2nd. But more importantly, he has led the most laps around this track, and it's not even been close. Like 819 laps that he's led on this track. The next best person out there is Joey Logano at 585. You talk about dirt guys. Who is the best dirt guy out there right now that you can think of? Close your eyes. You picture Kyle Larson, right? That's just the way it is. Last year, he got you the most fantasy points in this race with 94. The year before that, he got you 69.25 fantasy points in the spring of 2020. Nice. In the spring of 2025. In the fall of 2024, unfortunately, he did not get you. That was the one day where he got you 33 points, which you kind of don't like out of an $11,000 price tag. But in the spring of 2024, he got you 110.15, which was the most. Oh, by the way, he got you the most fantasy points in the fall of 2023 as well, with 109 points. And then, of course, before that, he got you 79.75 points in the spring of 2023. I'm not good with numbers, but those are a lot of big numbers. And to me, if you're going to pay $11,000, yeah, you expect them to be somewhere in the 70s, which, as I've rattled off, he's been consistently in and around that 70, with the exception of the 33 points that he got you a few races back. But, those are going to happen every once in a while. Kyle Larson has found a way last week to actually salvage a decent day in Phoenix after not necessarily putting his best foot forward. That proves to me that the defending champion still has something left to prove, even though, he's a two-time champion. Everybody pretty much can agree that he is this generation's Jimmie Johnson to a certain extent. I won't pull it completely out there yet, but there's a lot of Jimmie Johnson and Kyle Larson right now. And, the guy is just going to have to go out and continue to prove that, because for whatever reason, it seems like everybody forgets it. They're like, oh man, Kyle Larson sucks. He just won the championship, man. Like how are you going to come out and say he sucks? So all that to say, this is his type of track. And if it really truly is this slick dirt type track, this just plays into his favor even more, which means this is going to be a Kyle Larson day. Just like you said, Cody, it's just not even going to be close for a lot of people. And so for DFS purposes, obviously you're going to want to have some kind of piece of him, even though he's $11,000. Sometimes you got to treat yourself and get that expensive meal and enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this play, Rod. I completely agree with you. I didn't even see this one coming from you. Great call. Great call by you. But no, it's Kyle Larson is the guy this week, and he is going to be extremely popular. He's going to be highly rostered. So, again, in some of your GPP stuff, you're going to want to play lineups without him in case he steps on it, because Kyle Larson's been known to do that. But Vegas in particular, he's got this place figured out. You add in the heat, the tires, the wear, all that stuff really speaks to him. 27 race win streak or winless streak he's trying to break. I think that he will do that this weekend, but he is going to be a big-time dominator, in my opinion, and a guy you're certainly going to want to have as your main building block probably for a lot of stuff. I mean, I play in a lot of different types of fantasy leagues and stuff, and he's going to be the guy for me this week. I think I will – I don't know. I'm debating on the one and done still, because I think everybody's going to play him. I didn't play him last spring because I wanted to be different than everybody, and that was a bad idea because he obviously won. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, or I don't remember. Did he win? I don't know. Did he win this race? But he had a great week, whatever it was. Doesn't matter. But yeah, anyways, I'm done rambling.
I was letting you kind of teeter off. I was like, let's go. No, but listen, I know that a lot of people sit around and go, oh, he's the most expensive guy. Of course, hashtag analysis. But sometimes there are people that are sitting there on the fence thinking to themselves, man, this really is expensive. Do I really want to go after it? And so to those people, those are the ones that we're speaking to. If you've already like, oh, yeah, of course I'm going to play Kyle Larson. I didn't need you to tell me that. Well, somebody out there did. And I'm giving you permission.
Yeah, and Larson is a tough guy because, I was having this conversation with somebody earlier today. He's really tough to figure out because every week you can make a case for him to be the favorite, and he is the favorite most weeks. You go to places, right, and it's which places do you take him? He's a guy you can't always trust because he doesn't always get it done, but we know he's the best, right? And so when do you play him? Where do you play him? What are your choices? Last week, we specifically talked about not playing him because we didn't think they were going to be very good at Phoenix. And from a DFS aspect, he got a third-place finish, yes. I don't believe he led any laps and didn't have a super great DFS day. A third place obviously helps, but as far as not having a bunch of laps led and stuff, we didn't think he was going to, and well, he didn't. So, yeah, you have to pick and choose your spots with him, but this is a spot where you just pick him, and he's going to be highly popular. Everybody's going to play him. But if you don't have him, you're probably getting left out to dry, right? Again, depending on your type of play and if you're multi-entering and all that, don't put him in every lineup because there's that chance he doesn't, but he's the main building block for most of my stuff this week.
Indeed. All right. Well, then I'll tell you what, here's what we'll do. We will bring you the rest of this show commercial free, but to do that, I am going to tell you about our friends over at NoVig. We're brought to you by NoVig. NoVig is America's #1 sports prediction market. With NoVig, you're getting the best prices. There's baseball going on right now, and there's World Baseball going on right now. So how about we take a look at the Republic of Korea I was there and I still can't say it right. Taking on the Dominican Republic. You can get Korea on the money line at plus 599, which if you like Korea, which I do, just put a little money on and then have some fun. Maybe they'll pull the upset and you'll 100% love yourself for doing that. Go download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig promo code SGPN. Our friends over at Rhythm have absolutely been killing it, and they are your official data tool for dominating the madness of college hoops. The AI bracket generator is now open. Generate up to 3 NCAA tournament brackets backed by AI models. Then unlock model-backed predictions for every game from the first 4 through the finals. Rhythm also works well with Kalshi too, so make sure you go hook up the two and use them together. And if you're looking to go premium, now is a fantastic time to do so. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25. If you love SGPN merch, if you love wearing stuff to support this show, which you should, head over to the merch store where it is time for Merch Madness. 15% off of everything using our promo code MARCH. And of course, you can get yourself a nice Racing Gambling Podcast hoodie, shirt. There's all kinds of great stuff over there. Polos. You can have a coffee mug. You can have a hat. Whatever you like, just go order it and take 50% off, courtesy of us if you use the promo code MARCH.
Oh, the first half unders stuff on that graphic there gets me just so excited. The first half unders, if you've not been a SGPN listener for a while, as it's company policy, Rod, that we bet the first half unders for every single first round game of March Madness, including the first floor. And it has been a profitable thing a majority of years. I was looking at some data earlier today, actually, about previous year's performance, and just getting me so excited for betting on the first round with the first half unders.
It's staggering how good they've built themselves. I mean, that's probably what pays our salary, to be honest.
Yeah.
With you, first half unders.
First half unders pay for us year round, and that's why we're still here.
You could take first half unders for the show, even existing in the first place. So, all right. Well, we got to save money because we're not as rich as Sean and Ryan betting on all of the first half unders. So let's save some money on the mid-tier drivers rather for this card.
Well, we were talking about favorite drivers earlier, Rod, so it's a great time to bring up the Hurricane himself, Carson Hocevar, $8,000. Now, this is a very risky play. I'm going to throw that out there. We talked about him on the betting episode. I don't trust him enough to play the top 10 because we know, right? He's a Hurricane, and sometimes they have bad results, and sometimes they have good results. If they don't strike land, I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. I really know where I was going there once again today, but
it's okay. Thursday, Cody. We forgive you.
Thank you, Rod. I appreciate it. It's our Friday, right? Last show of the week. So that's what you get. But no, Carson Hocevar, look, we've seen the potential upside, right? There's not a lot of numbers to give you to bore you with all these great runs and stuff because there's not really been a lot of them. 15th place here in the spring of 24. That was a decent run. But we've seen him over the latter half of last year and even early on this year. He's been able to get up front and run with the leaders, run with the big boys. And if he can do that, that can put him in a position to maybe lead some laps, have some fast laps up there. The key is going to be getting to the end and getting the result, right? That's the part that we're still waiting to fully come in land. But second place at Nashville last year. So he's done it before. He's been able to capitalize and get a good finish. That's the upside that I'm betting on with this deal. Hocevar, Larson is a guy, well, I guess Larson has a pretty low floor too. But it's more of a risky play, right? Like there's a good chance it might not work out, Rod, as I'm trying to tell you. But on the other hand, he's a guy I gave out as an outright on Tuesday's show because I think there is the upside of him getting all the way to victory lane if he can control his hurricaneness. So give me the Hurricane himself, Carson Hocevar, at a nice, juicy $8,000, Rod. I'm sure you'll agree with me on that play.
I will do no such thing. I can't. I just, fine. As a GPP play, I will give you the fact that he could be it. But
Rod Villagomez endorses Carson Hocevar. That's the headline for this show. I'm changing the title of the show actually right now.
I'm telling you, listen, I will. This is me going on record. When and if he ever does win a race, somebody can send me something, a t-shirt, a hat, or whatever. I will wear it on the next show that I can wear it at when I get it. So that'll be your guys' decision. I don't care what it is, but like
your wife is going to come home and there's just going to be boxes and boxes of stuff on the porch. And she's going to be like, what the hell? And you'd be like, it's all my Hocevar gear. Sorry, honey.
Something I've got to wear now, babe. I said I was going to wear it for the next week, and here I am wearing it. You guys and your Hocevar reception. All right, let's move on to my mid-tier driver, and that is the Watermelon Man himself, probably the artist formerly known as Carson Hocevar, because Ross Chastain had a little hurricane in him as well. We all applauded the Hail Melon as a move that was basically the best move that we've ever seen in motorsports history. That probably, I don't know if Hocevar would have done that, if I would have thought that was stupid. Maybe that was just me coloring.
Probably.
Yeah. Probably not be praising it nearly as much, but no, Ross Chastain, $8,500 for him. What confuses me is that Ross Chastain is this cheap. Like I know that normally in the mid-tier drivers, I like to dip down a little bit lower, like into the 7,000s or 6,000s, but I couldn't pass up Ross Chastain at $8,500. If you look, our friends over at iFantasy Race have this next-gen average finishing heat chart. And like I said, for old guys like me, it's full of colors, which means green good, red bad, right? And so if I'm looking at Ross Chastain, all I see is basically green, with the exception of the 23rd place finish that he got in the fall of last year. But after that, I mean, it's mostly top 10 finishes, with the 2023 outlier of a 12th place finish, but 5th, 7th, 4th, 5th, 2nd, and 3rd, right? Already, you know your floor from Ross Chastain is going to pay for that $8,500 salary. He's been fast here as well, right? The next gen averages, or the next gen driver rating heat chart from iFantasy Race has him as the 7th fastest overall driver. $8,500, he's pretty much priced not that way. He's priced as one of the slower drivers, I suppose, at least maybe 10th on back. But yeah, I mean, to get a guy like this, he was the fastest in the spring race of 2022. He was the 2nd fastest in the fall race of that year, 3rd fastest in the spring of 2024. So like, he's fast and he's putting the finishes together too. How does that translate into fantasy points? Well, last year it didn't translate very well. Like we said, it was a down season, or down race for him, 13.25, which was the 29th most fantasy points on the day. But in the spring race of 2025, the 4th most fantasy points of the day, 57.4 behind Barry Larson and Suarez, believe it or not. Ross Chastain got you the 11th most fantasy points, 40.6 in the fall of 2024. And then in the spring of 2024, the 5th most fantasy points at 62.35. And then in the fall of 2023, 50.75, which was good enough for the 5th most fantasy points on the day for Ross Chastain. Again, if you're keeping track, that is a decent amount of points for a guy who's $8,500 on the slate. And look, we saw him be fast last week too. Unfortunately, Joey Logano saw him be fast and decided to take exception to that and put the chrome bumper or the chrome horn to him and ruin his day. But Chastain was floating around inside of the top 10 for most of that day. And I feel like we're going to see that again out of him at Las Vegas, a track he's obviously good at. And for $8,500, he's an absolute steal of a DFS play.
Absolutely love this play. Look, if you didn't have it already in the doc, I would have played it, because he was the watermelon lift is what I gave out on Tuesday's show, all over Chastain this week. Honestly, if I don't play Larson in the one and done, Chastain is likely the guy that I will be playing. I might save a Larson for like a Bristol coming up, but Chastain, absolutely love him this week. Again, I know there's a lot of different fantasy NASCAR games out there, so if you're looking for pieces to use, guys to use, Chastain is a mainstay piece this week. I really don't care where he's going to end up starting, because he has put together, he has the best average finish in the next gen era, is Ross Chastain of all people. He loves this track. He's performed really well here. So fully endorse this one, Rod. And I love Ross Chastain. Moving over to the low tier guys, our graphic cover boy. I've been excited to play this guy. I've been saving him up for this week. Riley Herbst. We talked earlier about local kid and Kyle Busch. Move aside, my friend. Give me the local kid and Riley Herbst, because he's a local kid that shows up and does well at this track. Now, the standards are a little bit different for where we expect maybe these two guys to be, but at a low price of only $5,200, I can get you some Riley Herbst here, Rod, and I think he's a great play at this type of race. You look back at last year, 2311 equipment, obviously, as a rookie, he started 34th here in the spring, not a good starting spot. That's what you want for a guy this cheap. Finished in 19th place. That is a strong DFS day. Came back here in the fall, started in 33rd place. Once again, a bad starting spot. 17th at the end of the day. Great finishes. Just a guy that we used him a lot, actually, down the stretch last year on the 1.5 mile tracks. It seems like when you get an opportunity to spread your legs out a little bit, just go run. Look, we know these 2311 cars are good. It's, Riley Herbst is considered one of the bottom guys in the grid, and I get it, right? But and he doesn't perform as well, obviously, as a Tyler Reddick, a Bubba Wallace, some of these other guys, but he's still in a really good car, and yet he's all the way down at the bottom, right next to guys like Cody Ware that just aren't in a good car, right? So it's a good car. It's a fast car. When he gets a chance to stretch his legs in these 1.5 miles, he does pretty good. 22nd at Kansas, 25th at Michigan, 14th at Texas. Really hit his upside there. He's just a guy that gets it done. Home track means a lot to him. I'm sure he'll be doing stuff with, if you don't know, Terrible Herbst is a big gas station chain in that area that his father owns that. That's why he's got the monster deal. I'm sure they'll be doing a bunch of promotion. But it's that home race, and we know how much that means to these guys, and they focus in on that. Really, really solid performances for what you expect out of Riley Herbst. Both races last year, and some of the other 1.5 miles really turning good performances. $5,200. He's absolutely, actually was the first guy I put in the dock. I wanted to make sure you couldn't claim him, Rod. Put him on the graphic for the show. I'm talking about Riley Herbst. You're not talking about Riley Herbst. Give me Riley Herbst, $5,200.
Yeah, I mean, again, 2311, they're so fast. And if he just gets a small piece of that again, and he has been running well, like you said, he's been acceptable on a lot of terms. He got caught up in other people's nonsense, a couple times already, but that you can't help that.
Yeah. And you hope he doesn't qualify, like 34th and 33rd last year in both races. Hopefully that's what we get again. Don't qualify good, Riley. Please qualify poorly, because then it's even better. There's almost no downside to playing him. And he's proven that he has the upside to getting it done. So, yeah, he's a guy on this low tier, obviously, as you're filling in. You got a Larson at the top of the board and save some money down here. Herbst is a guy with a lot of upside and potential at the bottom of the board. As much as we make fun of him, too, you look at what he did in the O'Reilly Series, Xfinity at the time, and he was in that 98 car. He performed pretty well. He won a track like Las Vegas. I believe he won the fall race here in his last full-time year. He performed well on these types of tracks. So it's not that he's a bad driver compared to some other people, right? He's not obviously as good as a Corey Heim would probably should be in that seat, but he still is a good driver and can deliver you some results.
Indeed. All right. Well, I guess I'm on the higher end of all of these price brackets this week, and I didn't necessarily mean to, but here I am taking AJ Allmendinger, my spirit driver.
Rod's got solar now, and he's just going to spend everybody's money.
Hey, listen, if it's generating more than
it's
I'm
your
putting
birthday
out,
week. We'll let you spend a little extra.
I was going to say, if it's generating more than I'm spending, then I'm all right with it. I don't care. It's your guys' energy. But AJ Allmendinger, bringing much joy and sunshine to my life as a driver. And I guess if you wanted to say who my favorite driver was, Luke, AJ Allmendinger was a guy that I embraced. So
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
AJ Allmendinger, I know he's not a Jimmie Johnson yet, but maybe he'll get there someday. AJ Allmendinger, $6,100. Listen, this guy, first of all, can't keep a cool suit to save his life. Can't keep power steering to save his life.
Probably could be an issue this week, Rod.
It could
be hot in Vegas.
It could be, but we've seen him muscle through, and we've seen him finish races. We've seen him do good things. I'm not asking him to do anything more than get me a good, solid DFS day. I don't need him to get a top 10. It'd be nice. It'd be fantastic. I don't need him to run all that well. $6,100. If I can get somewhere in the vicinity of 25 to 30 points out of him, I will be super stoked out of AJ Allmendinger. Well, guess what? In the fall of 2025, he got you 25 points, which was the 19th highest point total of the day. But in the spring of 2025, he got you 47.8 fantasy points, which was the 10th most fantasy points on the day. Started 18th, finished in 8th, had 4 fastest laps. Remember, he didn't race at all for a little while he was tooling down in the O'Reilly / Xfinity series. So he had a couple of years off. So the fall of 2023 is where we have to pick up AJ Allmendinger's track record here. At 22 points in the fall race of 2023, and then 30.45 points. So he's 4 for 4 in that 25 to 30 range, which is where I want him to be over the last couple of seasons that he's raced on this track. Now, again, I understand this season has not been the greatest for AJ Allmendinger to start with. We know we've speculated that Chevy's starting to take their foot out of the door because Colleague is straight Ram now in the Truck Series, and maybe that Chevy support's drying up, and maybe they're just sort of leaving him out to dry. But for DFS purposes, I don't care. AJ Allmendinger, even if he starts poorly, I kind of like that, because that means that he'll probably end up with a top 20 finish for me, and that'll be some place differential as well. Maybe he'll turn some fast laps in there, just tooling around for whatever. But AJ Allmendinger just not afraid to battle anything that's thrown at him to have a good solid race, and I feel like a guy I want to get behind. Even at $6,100, it's a little tough to stomach, but I'll take him because some of the other options below, besides Riley Herbst, Cody, make me a little even more queasy.
Yeah, I don't blame you there on the queasy part. So AJ, the thing that does concern me about him and Ty Dillon going forward, especially on these big tracks, is I don't believe the Chevy support is there anymore. It might be hideable in the first couple of bigger races. I think as we get towards the end of the season, there are going to be guys we're going to be very careful of, and we might get an idea this weekend. But that being said, even Ty Dillon along with AJ, they're guys that you can trust in a general sense to go get more than what they have. So I do like it from that aspect, and I'll back you on this play.
Good. All right, well then get out your pen and paper. We'll go over our DFS plays for this Pennzoil 400 in the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Cody gave you Chase Briscoe at $9,200 as his high price driver. I took the top of the board, didn't overthink it. Take Kyle Larson, $11,000 is my high price suggestion. Cody's giving you the Hurricane, Carson Hocevar, $8,000 as his mid-tier driver. I'm giving you Ross Chastain, the Watermelon Man, at $8,500. Cody's giving you Riley Herbst at $5,200 as his low-price driver. I am giving you AJ Allmendinger at $6,100 for mine. All right, that'll do it for the DFS portion for the NASCAR Cup Series. Now let's turn our attention to the Streets of Arlington in Texas for the IndyCar Grand Prix race there. Again, this is the very first time they will have ever raced this circuit. 70 laps, 191.1 miles around the Streets of Arlington. Cody, this circuit does not look easy. It looks like a pot, right? Like a pot you would boil your ramen in. It's got the dip, and then it's got the handle, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, but it almost looks like the state of Oklahoma, to be honest with you, Rod.
Yeah, I'll go with you on that one.
But yeah, it's got some crazy sharp turns and some stuff that is not going to be easy for these guys. And being a track that we haven't been to, you look through the field and some of these guys have been to some of these circuits or tracks 100 times. Well, not the case this week. Everybody on the same page as far as not having any experience. So that is certainly going to make it interesting.
Yeah, again, this is just one of those, some sharp 90-degree angle turns in this one, and a couple of areas where that very thin back and forth on the straightaway. It's a lot of high speed going into that initial right-hand turn. So, yeah, just a lot of stuff to look out for on this one. Festivities kick off on Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That is the first practice of the IndyCar Series. And then, of course, the race itself, Sunday, March 15th at 12:30 p.m. on Fox. But handicapping this one, listen, this is going to be a one we're just going to go off of recent form, for me at least, recent form,
yep.
and just a little bit of how well these guys have done in the past on circuits. But I think for me, Cody, this is just more recent form, because I can't take anything more into consideration, because not a lot of circuits look like this, first and foremost, and second of all, they've only had 2 races so far, so it's very difficult to suss out what we're gonna expect here.
Yeah, I completely agree. By the way, I love when both series are on Fox. It's really nice because they don't put them up against each other. So you get to watch the IndyCar race, then it leads you right into the Cup race, essentially. So another great day of racing action, and you'll have F1 on in the middle of the night if you want to wake up in the morning and watch it, like I will. So yeah, it's a great day of racing, and I'm excited for it. But yeah, like you said, as far as digging into it, same strategy for me is just recent form. What have you done for me? And who are reliable guys that you can trust in a general sense throughout, the paddock, because we don't have track stats to look at. And you could really, if you wanted to really break it down into street course guys, non-street course guys, yes, because they do run a good amount of street courses. But for me, it's more, what have we seen through the first couple of races here? What did we see last year? Who are guys we can trust and like that? And that's where I went.
Indeed. All right. Well, then, Cody, let's get to this card for the Streets of Arlington Grand Prix. Where are we starting?
Yes, I'm going to start. Bet365 has a head-to-head over there. You can get Joseph Newgarden over Kyle Kirkwood at plus 190. Now, this is an interesting matchup because Kyle Kirkwood should be really good here, to be completely honest with you. I was actually planning on taking Kirkwood as an outright, but I couldn't land on it where the number was. But, and we'll talk more about Kirkwood in a bit, should be really good here, yes. But to the point of last week, when we played a similar head-to-head like this, I had Joseph Newgarden over Alex Palou at plus 155. And to me, you take two really, really good race car drivers and two really, really good cars. You put them up against each other, and one guy is 2-1 against the other. Now let's add in the fact that we haven't been here before. We don't exactly know what to expect. We don't know how these guys are going to handle it. And Kirkwood has been a street course specialist. So I'm going to give him the edge. All the numbers and statistics would point you towards Kirkwood. You get that. But I get Joseph Newgarden, who is a great race car driver who had his struggles over the last year, right? Last year was horrible. He's won 2 of the last 3 races, and he is the point leader in IndyCar, Rod. So don't forget about that. Now, those were ovals, yes, but I don't care. Momentum counts. It carries forward. We saw him start in the back, rough qualifying at St. Pete, and he fought his way all the way up, finished in like 6th place, I think it was. So proved, hey, I still have this. I can do it. Ideally, we'll start a little better this week, but I think that these guys are going to be closer than the almost 2-1 number makes you think. And with the unknowns of a new circuit and all of that stuff, I'll take the Newgarden side. So give me Joseph Newgarden over Kyle Kirkwood plus 190 on Bet365. Also, there's one particular Kirkwood fan in particular that if Kirkwood doesn't have a good day, he's in his mom's basement, and it kind of makes me happy, to be honest with you, Rod. So it's a little cherry on top.
Well, then I guess they're not going to like, you're not going to like my outright here later on, and that other person did. So we'll have to see. All right. I'm going to take your favorite guy, Christian Lundgaard. I could not find any other matchups outside of that one that I like, because I 1000%, those are so juiced up on some of the angles, and the favorites are the favorites, and they're really.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is the other side of that. I mean, Kirkwood was what, minus 250 or something. Like you're not going to bet that side anyways, but yeah. And so that's why I think you just take the plus money, especially with the unknowns, and all you have to do is beat one guy. Like he can have an issue, things can go wrong, and Newgarden could just beat him outright too. So that's why you take it.
Yes, that is why you take it at all. So I'm going to go with your guy, Christian Lundgaard. He's the I'm going to take him for the podium finish this week, plus 200 over on the score. I mean, look, for Christian Lundgaard, this is just he started off the season with a 3rd place finish in St. Petersburg, on the streets, by the way, of St. Petersburg. And so a 3rd place finish behind McLaughlin and Palou. Now, Palou obviously just was Palou. He did Palou things, and I think we'll hear his name later on in the episode as well. Scotty Mack ended up getting a 2nd place finish in that race, but he started on the pole, so you kind of expect that to happen. But Lundgaard, though, what makes me more apt to want to do this for a 2nd straight street course is because he drove his way up from 12th. And to be honest with you, the strategy played out for him. His ability to pass cars got up with him as well. Like, he legit had a solid run that day. In fact, him and Kirkwood both were some big movers to get up into 3rd and 4th, right? Kirkwood got from 15th to 4th, and then Lundgaard was 12th to 3rd. So besides Joseph Newgarden, who went from 23rd to 7, everybody else was in and around the top 10 and kind of stuck around the top 10 and finished there. But, you know, when guys, especially in IndyCar, we know NASCAR, people say, oh, I got strung out. Oh, but like NASCAR, there's passing, there's laps, there's pit stops that make you kind of shuffle through and have to pass cars again. Ask Ryan Blaney how many cars he passed last week. That doesn't necessarily always happen in IndyCar and F1. Like, there's not a lot of passing on the track, right? I mean, it's tough to make up track position if you lose it. But when you see guys that consistently do that and are good at that, then you wholeheartedly want to get behind them and, you know, and ride them to a good finish. Talk about podium finishes for Christian Lundgaard last season. He got a 3rd place at Thermal, 3rd place at Long Beach, 2nd place at Birmingham. He was on the podium at Mid-Ohio. He was on the podium at Laguna Seca, at Portland. several podium finishes, 6 in fact out of 17. So Newgarden, man on the moon, man on the moon, well, man on the moon too, man on the move. So I'm going to take him as a podium, especially up 2-1.
Lundgaard to the moon. That's all I got out of that, Rod. I love it. Speaking of favorite drivers, Lundgaard is my guy. So would love to see this. Got his first career win on a street track in Toronto there. So certainly he could get this done. And we just saw it at St. Pete a couple of weeks. McLaren, I like it. Speaking of fast McLarens, Pato O'Ward going to ride his podium finish once again, plus 180. Got close a couple of weeks ago at St. Pete. Ended up with a 5th place finish there. Good, strong run. But this just comes down to guy you can trust, guy that's been driving these types of circuits for a long time, has experience in a fast car, and you expect him to be good here. That's really, it's as simple as that, Rod. I don't have much more to give you. So Pato O'Ward plus 180. And then Scott McLaughlin, you can get him plus 250 for the Thirsty Threes there. Like you mentioned, he finished 2nd place after starting on the pole at St. Pete just a couple of weeks ago. Again, a guy you can go back, and there's plenty of races where he has performed well and run good, but he is in one of the fastest cars in a Penske car. He has a lot of experience. He's a former supercars guy. You think of an SVG, all this experience on street courses and all that. He's got that experience on top of all the IndyCar experience. So I would say he's got somewhat of a leg up just because he's been doing street racing for such a long time. Coming into a race like this, started the season off hot with that 2nd place run back a couple of weeks ago, as I mentioned at St. Pete there, with a really good race. So yeah, I'm in on Scott McLaughlin. I'm in on Pato O'Ward. I'm going to take both of them to finish on the podium individually, but plus 180 for O'Ward, plus 250 for McLaughlin. I tried to look down the board a little farther, find some other guys. A Newgarden, I don't know that I have podium for his number. Like, I don't know if I have podium ambitions. I think he can beat Kirkwood because of the number you're getting, but I don't know if we're getting to the podium. You look around, Lundgaard, I liked. I'm glad you grabbed that. I don't know that there's a ton of people out there that I'm putting on the podium this week at a new track. Like, I think it is going to be the guys we generally see. These are some of the guys we generally see, so not going to overthink it. Going to ride with both those guys to get on the podium.
Indeed. Well, then I am going to ride with Scott Dixon to get on the podium. 5-1 for the Wiley veteran. The
Wiley rookie in his 21st rookie season or whatever. He's been around forever.
That guy, he's such a young rookie, a young veteran. No, Scott Dixon on the podium, 5-1. If we're gonna ride into the unknown, right? What better way to do it than a guy that's probably still running off the same gas tank that he started with last season, and is making fuel last all along. They know strategy, they know track position. We got robbed of a good Scott Dixon race in the beginning of the season at St. Petersburg because we just didn't get to see him at his full potential. And so I'm ready to see him on a street course this year because I feel like we just, like I said, we didn't get a chance to see him on a street course last week. Scott Dixon actually did drive up from a 15th place start to a 7th place finish in the Phoenix race last week. I know that's an oval, but it just proves that Scott Dixon is still good enough to drive through the field. And if you put him on a street where he's comfortable and if you keep him out of trouble, Scott Dixon has every ability to find his way onto a podium finish. Just, his stats kind of speak for himself as far as just being able to be on the podium. 142 podiums in his 24-year career. It's just hard to keep him off. I think he's going to shine through, and that experience in the car and the ability to adapt to new situations will come in handy for him. And we'll see Scott Dixon, number 9 car on the podium.
Yeah, no arguments with this, especially at the number. Again, looking around on the board, it's another guy that popped out. Like, okay, you can make a case, especially if it turns into a fuel mileage race. Nobody's better at it than he is. Maybe that, we compare him to Joey Logano a lot. New circuit. Maybe there's some crossover there. He gets it done. Who knows? But yeah, to get on the podium, I think the number is a good number. Outrights, Rod. I cannot believe Bet365 is giving you Alex Palou at plus 250. This is insane to me. You're taking clearly the best game in the best car. Last week was rough. I get it, right? He gets stuffed to the wall in lap 7. Actually worked out for me because I had the bet against him, so it paid off nicely. But he's the best driver. We saw it back at St. Pete. His strategists are the best. They constantly put him in position. you'll think, oh, he's back in 7th place. Maybe somebody all of a sudden, oh shit, Alex Palou, the strategy nobody else could have possibly thought of, and they've made it work, and now he's beating everybody by 4.5 miles, and it's like, goodness, he's so good. They are so good. Think of getting Max Verstappen in those prime races at plus 250. Like, it's just, you're giving the best guy, the best driver in a place nobody's been. That's probably an advantage to him because he's the best at it already. He's going to pick it up quick. He's going to figure it out. Plus 250, I think, is a crazy number. He's shorter in some other places, but 365 has that number, so I would jump on it. Little insurance play on Scotty Mack, 10-1. Again, this is very recency bias. St. Pete a couple of weeks ago. If it's not Palou, it's Scotty Mack. He goes out, sits on the pole, runs a great race. Really, Palou jumps him because of the strategy and ends up beating him. But otherwise, Scotty Mack had a pretty good day. So if something happens to Palou, Scotty Mack's going to be there 10-1. He's as low as 6-1 I saw in one place. So 10-1 over on Bet365. Again, best price if you have Bet365. Good place to get down. So pretty easy. I think it's Alex Palou week. I think plus 250. I was expecting him to not be plus money this week, Rod. And when the odds came out, I was like, wow, pretty surprised by it. And I think you don't overthink it. I think he's the play. So I'll take him and then the little Scotty Mack insurance.
Yeah, and as far as Scotty Mack is concerned, you 1,000% know that he is going to show up again for another street course and another street race. I think that is a very solid play on there. I'm just going to go ahead and take Kyle Kirkwood as the outright. I know we talked about him a little bit earlier, but 2 street course races wins last season for Kyle Kirkwood. He won in Long Beach. He won in Detroit. And then in the other 2 that he didn't win, he came in 5th place on St. Petersburg to open the season, and then had a 6th place finish in Toronto. So still in the top third of the field for Kyle Kirkwood. And those 2 street course races last year makes me feel like he is highly comfortable on street courses, somebody that can handle himself on there. And in a world of unknowns, a 5-1 for a guy who picked up 2 of his 3 wins on a street course last season seems like a very well-priced driver to back, especially given what I talked about earlier this season in St. Petersburg, driving up from mid-pack to the front of the pack to finish on the podium, or finish close to the podium, rather. Yeah, I'm 100% backing Kyle Kirkwood for this win and at least being in contention for it by the end of the day.
Yeah, I do like this play. I mentioned earlier I didn't think the number was big enough. I honestly, though, Palou is clearly the number one, and Kirkwood, when you think of street courses, might be the second best guy. I mean, he's what you mentioned the 2 wins last year. I think he had 2 or 3 wins the year before on street courses in particular. He's been a street course guy, so you certainly have to give him his flowers for that. Again, the head-to-head thing, I told you earlier, I think that Kirkwood's going to be better than Newgarden, but there's too many things that could go wrong, and that's why you take the 2-1 side of it. But I'm not going to argue with you too much on this. I was hoping for a bigger number. I guess maybe that's why I wasn't as interested, but he certainly really should be the second best guy here to Palou. So at 5-1, it's not a bad number at all.
Yeah, this is almost like when you were talking earlier in F1 days when it was either Sergio Perez or Charles Leclerc or one of those other guys that were just fighting for that, or Carlos Sainz even. They were capable of winning the race, but you knew Max was probably going to win the race, and so you were like, well, I want a larger number on this, but this one is actually priced right for what it is, right? And I feel like Kirkwood is priced right for what he is.
Yep, agreed.
All right, get out your pen and paper. Time to go over our bets for this street course race in Arlington for the IndyCar race. It is Cody started you off with just Newgarden over Kyle Kirkwood plus 190 at 365. I said Christian Lundgaard would be on the podium. Oh, good job. Sorry, Cody, I forgot you made those graphics. I said that Scott Dixon would be on the podium at 5-1 over on the score, and then I also said Kyle Kirkwood would be the race winner at 5-1. Cody gave you Joseph Newgarden over Kyle Kirkwood at plus 190. Actually, it's an updated price for that. Then Pato O'Ward to be on the podium at plus 180. Scott McLaughlin to be on the podium at plus 250. Alex Palou at plus 250 as an outright, and Scotty Mack at 10-1 to win the Java House Grand Prix of Arlington.
Oh, well, I should probably unmute myself. Great job, I said great job as I was not doing a great job of unmuting myself. Good way to end the week.
It's Thursday, man. This is what happens on Thursday.
I'm ready for some racing tonight. We got FP1 for F1, so looking forward to that. Going to be exciting. Make sure you go back, check out that pick show yesterday. We talked O'Reilly Series. We talked F1. Of course, back on Tuesday, we had a full Cup Series episode with all our picks for Sunday's race. Again, early happy birthday, Rod, to you on Sunday. Yeah, it's a big one, so props to you on that, and cheers. And yeah, good luck to everybody on all of your racing bets this weekend. Hopefully you enjoyed the wonderful buffet of options this week, Rod. Follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb, where you can find all of my work. Bunch of college basketball stuff has been coming out over there. NFL futures continue to crank out all kinds of stuff. Shout out to Preston. Make sure you're listening to all of his good stuff in the Discord, sg.pn/Discord, F1 Guru. Appreciate you, Preston. Best of luck, everybody.
Indeed. Follow me on Twitter. I'm boring, but if you wave, I'll wave back and say hi to you, and probably just, hi, and I'll comment on some of your stuff as well. Yes, RJ Villagomez is where you can find me on Twitter. As Cody said, we may not do the recap show on Sunday proper. Depends on how together I am and how much I've had.
Carson Hocevar wins. We're doing it on Sunday, Rod. I don't care how many drinks you've had.
Carson Hocevar, you're calling Phil. And you're doing the
can you think of a better birthday present than Carson Hocevar winning on Rod's big birthday?
You may not see me again.
It lines up perfectly. Oh, my God. I'm so excited.
All right. Well, we'll see you sometime next week for the recap show. And, of course, for the rest of the fabulous racing content that we provide you each and every week. All right. We love you guys. Thanks for a great week. We'll see you again next week. And until then, join us on our never-ending quest to make NASCAR betting fun again. Let's go racing and let it ride.